Welcome guys, episode number 7 of Football Is.
That's what I want.
So guys, welcome to episode number 7. Today is about grassroots reffing. We've got Daniel Simmons here today. Very happy to have him here. Been reffing this morning, how are you feeling?
Tired. Achy.
Pulling him away from the cricket as well, so we've got to be nice. So, a couple of questions today, mate. Been a lot this week on the radio about reffing at grassroots level, why it seems to be such a struggle to get referees in there now. So, how long have you been a ref for?
I've been a ref for 5 years now. It feels like a lot longer, to be honest. It really does. It's qualified 5 years ago, I believe.
Enjoying it?
Yeah, I do love it. I love the game, so...
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I think they tell a lot of players now, why don't you become refs? Because a lot of players try and become coaches, and I don't understand why players don't go down that route of perhaps trying to referee an outfit, really.
There's a stigma that if you become a referee, you're just going to get abuse. And it's... Sometimes it is like that, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, our county and our county FA are pretty good on it. They don't tend to... You don't get stories in this county like you do in others. Like, obviously there was that one in Ireland not long ago where the referee got attacked in the car park.
And that's the thing, that is a worry, isn't it? You know, taking it too far. Sometimes you at the end of the day, like I've played in games, believe it or not, I used to play, where you've reffed.
Yep.
And it is hard. Sometimes you see a decision and your first reaction is go, hang on, what the... But it's tough on you guys, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, you're seeing it straight away.
Yeah.
You're seeing it there. You've got to make a decision there and then.
The thing is when teams are playing football, it doesn't matter who it is. You could be the quietest lad in the world. You could be out there. It's an emotional game.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says, and I'll say this as a football fan, not as a referee. Football is not just a game.
No.
People get involved in it. People really, like people who don't even watch football.
It's a passion, isn't it?
Yeah, you see them watching things in the pub, and you got guys in there that say you watch England, you watch your country, and these guys haven't watched football for years.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden,
bang, they're in there.
There is a tribalness about it.
Because a lot of it is psychological, and it's sort of when the endorphins start going in your brain, the adrenaline starts going, and I'll be honest, I've played before, I've lost my head before.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of understand.
Yeah. That's the problem. I mean, what I wanted to go into as well before Daz comes in is why did you want to become a ref? What was the reasoning before, behind coming into it?
So I had an operation on my knee when I was 19.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of a shelf life. And as I got older and older, I got to about 27, I think it was now. And I took a goal kick once, it had a crack, and I thought, I was like, it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah.
I went away, sat down, and realistically, there's two options. There's refereeing and there's coaching.
Right.
I know what I'm like when I go and watch in the stands.
I've seen him.
I'm a bit of a stress head when I'm watching on the side. It's really weird because I'm a stress head on the side, but I'm fully in control when I'm in the middle. So it's but then when you're in the middle, you've got a lot more to think about.
Yeah.
So your brain's occupied. But I sat down and I thought I'm too much of a stress head to do coaching, which kind of got hammered home a couple of years ago.
Right.
Basically, my dad runs a Sunday league team.
Okay. Yeah.
He had a heart attack by the side of the pitch.
Oh my God.
During Charles Darwin Onslow game.
Right.
And I kind of sat down afterwards and I thought, yeah, I've made the right decision here.
Yeah. I mean, and full recovery, I hope.
Yeah, he's fully recovered. He's still as daft as hell. So
If you're watching, he doesn't mean that. Yeah, no, brilliant. That's good to know. That is Daz. Over to you.
Yeah, so one thing that interested me really was I was listening to a discussion on TalkSport this week, and they were talking about grassroots referees, and they were saying that basically that it was the lack of people coming through now that wanted to be referees, and this was due to the people taking abuse, not only from players but also people on the sidelines, families that were giving them abuse. I heard stories of people being attacked in a supermarket, having their clothes thrown into showers, and just literally even taking abuse when they've had the kids with them.
Yeah.
So it was like, what's your take on that really, and like how do you think people can be encouraged, and why would they want to go into refereeing?
I think a lot more, like from a personal level, I've not seen it, but I know it goes on.
Yeah.
It has happened before. It has happened in Shrewsbury before.
I remember that. Yeah.
There was an incident in, I think it was Monkmore Car Park.
Yeah.
I don't know the full details. All I know is a referee was assaulted after giving a couple of decisions.
Yeah.
Don't expect it on your doorstep, do you? When
No.
you do these things?
Referees do need a lot more protection.
Yeah.
They need protection from the FA, and when these incidents are happening, the FA is not where it should stop.
Right.
It needs to be a criminal offence.
Yeah, I agree with that, because you look at players attacking players. Joey Barton, for one.
Yeah.
That was he went to prison for that.
Yeah.
So why is this not happening with referees? Because I've seen it myself. I've seen it several times. Playing Sunday League especially, where after the game, that's not good enough in some players' eyes. Whether they've had cards for something they don't believe in.
Yeah.
And they absolutely destroy the referee, and it's a lonely world for a referee after a game, because when you finish playing football with your team, off you go together. A referee is on his own predominantly, isn't he?
Especially Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
That's a massive thing. Like I said, referees need more protection. They need it by the FA, and they need it criminally as well.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why I can only speak for myself and what I've seen, but a lot of FAs seem to think that if they deal with it, that's the end of the problem.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But unless the FA come down and say you've got a certain amount of time banned, or you're banned for life,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 weeks later, these lads are going to come across the same referee again,
Of course they are,
Yeah.
and that's when they need the protection.
Yeah.
And it's not on.
It works both. I mean, like, you've played Sunday League as well. You've played once. We've all been there when a ref's turned up and we've gone, oh, we got him today.
Yeah,
We have.
they do that every week when I play.
No, but what I'm saying is, the FA obviously know that happens, and that's the banter side of it. But you're right, there's got to be an element of protecting the referee. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a sport. This is there for enjoyment, not just for the 11 players on each side, but for the referee.
Yeah.
You're not doing this this isn't a sentence. You've not been told you've got to do this the rest of your life. You're doing it because you want to.
No, see, me personally, I don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
I do it because I love the game.
Yeah, and that's
And it's because I wanted to stay in the game.
Is that kind of what motivates you then? So that's what motivates you to get up on a Sunday morning and to
I mean, I've got to be honest. I went through a stretch, probably just before Christmas, where I did five weeks in a row where I must have sent somebody off every week.
Oh, really?
For mouthing off. I was threatened on the pitch. I gave a decision. I was talking to one lad. I called him over. I basically said to him, look, the game's dead. Don't get yourself into trouble.
Yeah.
He went away. Some lad decided to start swearing at me, saying he couldn't speak to me, this, that and the other. So I called him over. And I basically said, I'm not going to put up with that.
Yeah.
Okay, I pulled my yellow card out, booked him. As I was putting my card in my pocket, the next words that came out of his mouth were, I'll see you in the car park. Now, I'm quite thick-skinned. I'm not scared. So I just pulled my red card out and sent him off.
Yeah.
And I didn't restart the game until he had disappeared.
Yeah. I've seen this sort of thing happen before, and luckily 99 times out of 100, you've got the team saying, you've let us down here, you know, why didn't you just shut up? But then it only takes that one time, doesn't it, where you do get turned on. And the problem is then, and this sort of leads actually into my next question actually, how do you manage a game when people have lost their heads?
You, as a referee, you cannot, even in the biggest situation, when everybody's going at you, you cannot lose your head. Because if you lose your head, that's a vulnerability.
Yeah.
And whatever they're doing, then they can escalate it because they know that you're not going to be able to deal with it. I said before, I'm lucky enough that I'm reffing young.
Yeah.
Because I still know a lot of lads. They still know me and they know my temperament. That's not to say that I know these lads, I'm going to give them something. They know my temperament.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done friendlies where I've ref lads that I've known, I've done friendlies and I've sent them off.
Yeah.
So
I was nearly booked for dissent one game. But it's true, and that's the thing. Does that help in a way of knowing some of the lads? So you're able to say, listen, have a chat. You don't need. I don't need to be booking you today. Can you have a word?
See, one of the most important things you do as a referee is when you blow that whistle at the start of a game to get the captains in.
Yeah.
Is the chat that you have with the captains.
Yeah.
You have to tell them what their responsibility is as a captain.
Yeah.
Because a lot of lads, they turn up on a Sunday morning, put an armband on, and they think, right, my sole thing is to tell my team what to do, like tactically and this, that, and the other. I'll give him a standard talk at the start of a game. You get the captains in, and it's right, lads. My name's this, my name's that, and the other. Introduce yourselves and say, right, this is what I expect of you.
Yeah.
Okay. If your players get on my back, you get on them before I do. We have no problems.
Yeah.
If they are giving it a little bit too much and I call you in, I'm expecting you to help me.
Yeah.
A lot of lads, when you give that talk, they're banging straight on their players. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
And I've got to give them credit for that because they are. If you just turn up, blow your whistle, do a toss, what are these lads going to do?
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's about installing that respect.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's about installing the respect at the start, and in a way letting them know, look, this is mine. I'm in charge today. You've got to be with me, because if you're not with me, then you're against me, and this is going to be a very difficult game.
See, for me as well, on the pitch, there is field of play for the FA.
Field of play for the FA.
On the field of play, it's the way you talk to people as well. A lot of referees don't talk to players.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that does need to be addressed.
Yeah, okay.
Talk to players, like, for example, you've seen me ref.
Yeah.
If there is something that is debatable, like say the lad's gone through, got the ball and the man, and I've given a free kick, I will explain, yes, I'm happy you've got the ball, but you've got the man first, and you have to get the ball first.
Okay, yeah.
If you don't do that and you just walk away, these lads are stewing on it, and then, like I said, human emotion. You annoy somebody on a football pitch, and the adrenaline's going, and the blood's pumping. Next tackle, bang! They're just going to go through someone.
Yeah.
And that's all about controlling the game as well.
And you witness that a lot. You do witness that a lot. You know, even professionally, you see that where a referee won't speak to a player, will just reprimand them. And 5 minutes later, when that player's got the chance, they will go through them.
Because if I reprimand a player, and then he goes and does something again, then that's his fault.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
If I don't reprimand that player and he goes through and does it again, I'm thinking, well, why didn't I tell him?
How many times do you see on the TV when a player goes through someone and they get booked, and the first thing they say to the ref is, "That was my first one. That was my first one." I mean, how do you deal with that?
Obviously, if you come in and cut someone in half,
then
it doesn't matter whether it's your first, fourth, fifth, sixth. People seem to think that most yellow cards are accumulation, and they're not.
Really, that's interesting actually, because that's something for me. When I watch football, I think, right, he's had one, he's had 2 warnings there.
Yeah.
This is it now. Right, okay, that's good to know.
As long as they're not nasty.
Yeah.
If they're little niggly ones, it tends to be, I'll probably give you 3.
Yeah.
When you're looking at a situation like that, then how much do you rely on the staff that you've got with you, such as your linesmen and things like that? Is that a big decision, a decision maker for you?
Saturdays is, I've got to admit, it's a lot easier. You do get linesmen on Saturdays, and they're neutral linesmen as well. So, and if they give a decision, I've got to admit they tend to get less flack than your club linesman on a Sunday.
Oh God, yeah. We've all been. I've been there. I've flagged for an offside when it's not. You do. That's the sad. That is where the pressure comes on you more, doesn't it?
Yeah. So Sundays, I'm quite strict with the way that people treat the lads that volunteer to do the line.
Yeah.
If the lads that volunteer to do the line get any abuse, I clamp down on it big time.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're assisting me. They're part. They may well be signed on for you. They may well be signed on for you, but they're doing a job for me.
Yeah, that's quite right.
I've done the line several times because I never played.
And the thing is, if referees don't come down on it and people give the abuse to the club linesman especially, you turn up next week. Can you do the line for me? Not a chance.
Yeah, and we've all had that, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've all had that.
Yeah.
You know, I've had that. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting the abuse. I'm on your side here. Very, very sore subject, I know, with some referees here. What do you make of the rule changes? And do you have to run around with an iPad ready for the next update when another one's implemented?
I'm not going to lie. It's difficult reading the 216-page IFAB guide at the start of the season.
Say, that was it. Do you even understand it?
Luckily enough, at this level, they're sort of like it's sort of cut in half where the interpretations are, because obviously we don't have to deal with VAR and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But some of the changes are good for the game.
Yeah.
I mean, like the one now where you can receive the ball inside the area from a goal kick or a free kick. That speeds up the game.
Yeah.
That stops the keeper sort of messing about.
Yeah.
And with the substitutions, now I believe that obviously the laws are they have to go at the nearest point. However, if you're like half an hour into a game and stuff like that, and it's easier, you're probably going to go off at the halfway line.
Yeah. Quite right, yeah.
I think a lot of referees will clamp down on it if it's 60, 70 minutes, you win in the game 2-1 and your lad decides to go for a trundle.
Yeah.
We've all seen it.
Into the corner.
Yeah, quite right,
And it happens. I can just see like players now just walking to the halfway line and just standing in the middle and going, well, which way are you going to send me off?
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, get off or I'll book you.
I mean, that's the thing as well, is like there is so many rules that they're implementing with that now, and I think you're right in a way, substitutions especially, because it is a known, it's like the biggest known cheat in the world. You know, if you want to run the clock down at the end, you make a sub. It happens loads of places. So for you as a referee, that must be a lot easier, unless, as you say, they're on that halfway line there, which way for you to be able to say, right, off you go. Do you know what I mean? It does help. So I mean, a lot of the rule changes I think will help, but like you said, some of the rule changes are a bit.
With the substitutions as well, it is in the law. It is in the laws that if they're told to go off at the nearest point by the referee and they take the mickey, it is an automatic yellow card. So they are coming down on it. The one I do want to talk about actually is the one step for the goalkeeper.
Right. Okay.
Everybody's going mad about, oh, they've changed the laws and this, that, and they've not changed the laws. You've never been allowed off your line. No. What they've done is they've just sort of put an interpretation in to say that the keeper can have one step.
Yeah.
Which, I've got to be honest, I kind of let them do it anyway. I give them one step. But it's like, what people don't understand is, they say the keeper's never going to save it. Right? When you give a penalty kick, the advantage is to the attacker.
Yeah, exactly. You're not there to say, right, giving you a chance, goal. I get that.
Why is the keeper getting an advantage out of that? They shouldn't be.
And is that hard to ref actually on your games, Saturdays and Sundays? Because I mean, Saturdays you say you've got your linesmen, so you know that they're impartial, they're with you, they're your team. Sundays, as you say, you are on your own. I know you've got volunteers that will help, and not all the time are very truthful and honest. But is it hard for you then to ref that one step, off the line? Do you have to be vigilant, because you're not just watching the keeper, you're watching people encroaching the box.
you kind of have to put yourself in a position whereas you can clearly see out of one eye, you can clearly see that the line on the one side, and you can see the lads running in on the other side.
Yeah.
Kind of makes your eyes go like that. But yeah, it's a lot of refereeing is about positioning.
Yeah.
Positioning is massive. Angles, positioning.
Yeah.
If you give a decision, I don't understand like how a lot of referees can give a decision from 50 yards away. All right, you see the guys on the Premier League when there's a big counter attack, but these days you've got linesmen that are mic'd up.
Yeah.
And they can say, if they've seen something, they can say to the ref who's maybe 50 yards away, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And we can give it. And as a team, they can give it. On a Sunday morning, I don't see how I can give a credible decision from 50 yards away.
No, I understand that. That's this sort of brings me to my next question. Really, is where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'm hoping to get up the ladder. Currently level 6. But we're lucky in Shropshire that we've got it's quite a small county.
Yeah.
And we do have some really good referees here. And we're lucky enough to have a Football League referee as well.
Right.
Who I'm lucky enough that he looks after me.
Right. Yeah.
So, but we're all assessed.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody realises that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying straight away. Yeah.
But when it's not so much the guys that just want to come and do the Sunday League and referee, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But any of us guys and girls that want to go up the levels and whatnot, we have from 7 up to 5. We have 3 assessments.
Right. Okay.
A season by 3 different people.
Really?
Once you hit level 4, you're then into your fitness tests.
Oh right. Okay.
And you then have to have 6 assessments per season.
Counts me out there.
Counts you out. Yeah.
And that's sort of like the standard that you guys went to watch at Shawbury.
Yeah.
Which is the West Mids.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys will have 5s on the line, 4s in the middle.
Right.
And you have to meet that standard. If you have a bad game, they don't just turn around and say, "Oh, it's all right."
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there's a standard that's expected for a certain standard of football.
Yeah.
And when you get higher up the leagues, the football gets faster and faster.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough. I ran the line for Shrewsbury Town's under-18s against Accrington a couple of seasons ago.
Right.
Jesus, it's fast.
Yeah.
It's really fast.
We watched the ref. The ref I thought had a good game yesterday.
No,
actually.
yeah.
The Shawbury assistant manager Sean Evans will disagree, but I thought he was all right. He let the game flow as much as he could.
Yeah.
There was quite a lot of gob he got from both sides, but that's all part and parcel of the game, and keeping yourself. How do I say it? Calm and collective, you know.
Evo's never happy though.
No, that's great. I mean, thanks for taking the time to speak to us today, Dan. We'd love to have you back halfway through the season if that's all right.
Absolutely.
It was good to get a good insight from the referee's perspective. I'm hoping that some of you guys watch this and actually listen. They never do. And listen and understand that when a referee finishes a game like we spoke about earlier on, that you don't just think right on to the next one. You do stew on decisions.
That's what I was going to say just before we finish. A lot of teams, if you give a bad decision in the game, I will hold my hands up massively, and I have made big mistakes in games, and I've gone into the change room, got changed, and I've sat there for a good 20, 30 minutes at a time, thinking, did I get that right? Did I get that wrong?
Yeah, it must be tough.
But that's good to hear, isn't it? It's good to hear a ref. You know, you want to hear that.
I'm not going to say all referees because I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of the referees I know, if they make a mistake, that's going to affect them for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And we're there to officiate the game.
Yeah.
We don't want to ruin it.
No.
There's a conception that we get there and we just ruin games just because we want to be the centre of attention.
Yeah.
Now, you've known me for a long time.
Yes, I have.
And the last thing I want to be is the centre of attention.
Yeah.
So it's referees make decisions. Referees get things right. Referees get things wrong.
Yeah.
Even at the top level.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely,
Like,
yeah.
so it goes
We see it
down the
all the time,
pyramid.
don't we?
That doesn't mean somebody's a bad ref. That doesn't mean they did it on purpose.
Yeah, yeah,
It's human nature. We get one look and one angle,
yeah.
and that is it.
Right, yeah,
Now you're sat to the left of me, you're sat to the right of me. Okay, something happens in front of us. You've got a better angle that side. You've got a better angle that side, and I can see straight down the middle.
yeah,
Right. Your decision is going to be a bit different to mine, unless it's absolutely clear cut, and your decision is going to be different to mine.
yeah,
It's all about angles, and that's where I go back to positioning.
yeah, yeah.
Positioning for a referee is absolutely paramount.
Yeah, no, that's quite right. I agree. Everything that you said there, spot on. I feel like I've learned a bit today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good
You know,
insight. Good insight.
as Dan said, I've known him a very long time, and I'm quite a gobby player. So it's been nice to actually, it's been nice to hear that from a referee's perspective. Like I said, we'll get you back throughout the season. Guys, any questions? Tweet us. You know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button. We need those subscriptions up there. As for me, anything else from you, Daz?
That's fine.
Football is.
That's what you got.